Welcome to Man in America, a voice of reason in a world gone mad. I'm your host, Seth Holhouse, and thank you so much for joining me live tonight. We've got a lot to talk about. Last week, we all witnessed the assassination, which I refer to more as the public execution of Charlie Kirk, a man that was recognizable around the world, especially here in America. And a man that I personally knew, have had on the show before, who was in the same similar profession as me. It hit me very hard. And what we're being told now, though, is that the case is closed. They caught the assassin, a lone shooter, a lone gunner, similar to JFK. And they now have evidence. There's a note from him. There's messages on Discord server. They found the murder weapon. Case closed. The problem is, I don't believe it. I don't believe it. And if you're here watching this show, maybe you're in the same boat and you're having a hard time believing it too. And so what I'm going to walk through on tonight's show, first half of the show, I'll be showing you where I'm at in my understanding of what happened, looking at what they're telling us happened, what kind of gun was supposedly used. Was he wearing body armor? We're going to be digging into a lot more of that. And then also what could have potentially happened if the main story doesn't hold water, which in my opinion, it doesn't. And I'll be explaining why. Second half of the show is just going to be us talking. I'm going to pull up the chat. I did this last week and we were up till almost midnight together. It was almost a 2-hour show just going back and forth. So for those of you that are live in the chat, Rumble and YouTube, specifically, I'm going to make sure I show the comments. I'll give YouTube a little more attention tonight. I know it didn't last week, but I want to hear from you. I want to, walk through this together. Because as I say, I'm not here to tell you what to think. My goal is just to show you what I think and show you how I've arrived at my thinking. And maybe that helps you to make sense of this world that has gone mad. But before we jump into the show, I've got a few quick sponsors to tell you about, which I'm very excited. And this is what makes this show possible. And this is what makes me truly independent, which means I can say whatever I want to say, which I appreciate because I'm not one that takes to orders very lightly. So first off, Brightcore. So our world is being poisoned. I'm sure you know that. Every day we're exposed to more chemicals that are sprayed into our skies. They're leaching into our food, polluting our air and water, from pesticides and heavy metals to hormone disruptors and synthetic additives. These toxins are bombarding our bodies and silently destroying our health. But there's something you can do right now. It starts with your gut. So Kimchi One from Brightcore Nutrition contains over 900 strains of beneficial probiotics that help flush toxins, restore gut balance, and support your immune system. Because when your gut's strong, your body can resist. You'll feel the difference: better digestion, more energy, clearer thinking, stronger immunity, even improvements in your skin, hair, and metabolism. It's not just hype. Studies show that fermented foods like kimchi can reduce the risk of obesity, improve blood sugar, and support whole body wellness. Kimchi One is a natural, non-GMO, dairy-free, gluten-free, and 100% made in the USA by a company that actually cares about your health. So today, you can get an exclusive offer just for my viewers, 25% off with the code MANINAMERICA and by clicking the link below. Or call my friends over at Brightcore for up to 50% off your order and free shipping. So give them a call at 888-575-6488, and their educated staff will make sure that Kimchi One is right for you. Again, that's 888-575-6488. Okay, and one other sponsor I'm excited to tell you about. For those of you that don't like the IRS, here's a little message for you. Tax day may have passed, but for millions of Americans, the real trouble is just beginning. If you missed the April 15th deadline, or if you still owe back taxes, the IRS is ramping up enforcement. Every day you wait only makes things worse. So with over 5,000 new tax liens filed daily and tools like property seizures, bank levies, and wage garnishments, the IRS is applying pressure at wages we haven't seen in years. Increased administrative scrutiny means that collections are moving fast, but the good news is there's still time for Tax Network USA to help. Are you self-employed? Are you a business owner? Even if your books are a mess, they've got it covered. Tax Network USA specializes in cleaning up financial chaos and getting you back on track fast. Even after the deadline, it's not too late to regain control. Your consultation is completely free, and acting now could stop penalties, threatening letters, and surprise levies before they escalate. So call 1-800-958-1000 or visit tnusa.com/MIA. You may have missed April 15th, but you haven't run out of options. Let Tax Network USA help, before the IRS makes the next move. And all the links and information for both of those sponsors are in the description below. All right, so getting into this evening's show. As I mentioned before, they've caught the guy, right? They have all this evidence now that Tyler Robinson was the lone gunner. He was part of a radicalized Antifa trans group, and it fits the perfect bill, especially if your goal is to increase the left versus right tension in this country and divide America even further through class warfare. It's perfect. Absolutely perfect. But there's a lot of loopholes, though. There's a lot of things that I watch and I'm thinking, that just doesn't sound right. I feel like I'm being lied to. I feel like there's being information withheld. I feel like that there's been a lot of sloppy handling of things, which we'll be getting into. But one thing we'll start with is just odd. Like, this thing is that there's just some strange things going on. So here's a post from a health ranger. He says, "The dog ate my homework." This is now the FBI's explanation. So they've supposedly found a letter where he was writing, as a letter in his house where he was basically admitting to it was before the shooting, where he was admitting to the fact that he was going to shoot Charlie Kirk. I'll play this 55-second clip, though. It just is strange to me. It's not like, here we have a copy of the letter, here's the letter. Just listen to how Kash Patel describes this. I don't know. My gut, my spidey senses are telling me something is off about this. So listen here.
Written note, did he write a written note before the assassination attempt? That's what the governor said yesterday. And what did that say, if you could share?
So what I'm able to say, I'm sorry. So what I'm able to say is, I addressed it partially earlier, is that the written note, we believe, did exist, and we have evidence to show what was in that note, which is, and I'm going to summarize, basically saying, the suspect wrote a note saying, "I have the opportunity to take out Charlie Kirk, and I'm going to take it." That note was written before the shooting. Evidence of its existence, we now have learned, existed before the shooting, was in the location, in the suspect and partner's home. But we have since learned that the note, even though it has been destroyed, we have found forensic evidence of the note, and we have confirmed what that note says because of our aggressive interview posture at the FBI.
Just to me, it seems strange that they had the note, then they found that there was evidence of the existence of the note. Forensic evidence shows part of the note, but actually they've confirmed what the note said through their aggressive interrogation efforts. Just seems strange to me, right? That, like what happened at Gitmo, what kind of interrogation was done to get information out? I mean, I'm not accusing them of doing that, but it just seems strange that that's what they're coming out with. But the other thing is also Discord, which is an online very private way of chatting and meeting up with people. So a day or two ago, they said that Discord, because initially they're saying that there was this planning that was done on Discord. And then Discord, they come out, as you see here, and they say that no, their platform has not been used in the suspect's murder plan. So they went through all their chat logs and they said that there's no evidence of this conversation happening on Discord. Supposedly, Tyler Robinson was part of some sort of trans Antifa activist Discord group, and they were all planning these things together, and whatnot. So initially Discord says it doesn't exist here, but now all of a sudden they say it does. So they're saying, "It was me. Suspect in Charlie Kirk shooting appeared to confess in Discord chat." So right here it says that he says, quote, "I'm sorry for all this. Read a message from the suspect account, according to two people familiar with the messages and screenshots obtained by the post." But he says, "I'm sorry for all this," yet they're saying that this is where they planned it. Again, it just seems suspicious to me. Call me a conspiracy theorist, but it doesn't sit right with me. But what's also, as we kind of dig deeper and we're looking for evidence and eyewitnesses, things get even more weird. So here is a video of a young man. I think this was right after the shooting happened. And this young man was kind of telling what he saw. But when he gets into his story, all of a sudden they start shutting him up. But just watch this. It's 36 seconds. Again, another strange interaction about the evidence surrounding this assassination.
I was standing from probably the third row in the bottom. I saw hit. I heard the shot ring out. I looked to my left, and then I looked over to my right. I saw him slump over in his chair forward. He slumped over. He had blood coming from the left side of his neck down his shirt, and he slumped over and he was carried off.
Deb, we're not doing it. I'm sorry.
Get off me! Get off me!
Emotions are running high right now.
So I'll play that again. It's just strange. But also he says that he was sitting in I think in the third row. He heard the shot. He looked to his left and looked back over to his right. Anyway, I'll play it again. Just let's listen to this. This is very strange.
I was standing in probably the third. Okay. I was standing from probably the third row in the bottom. I saw hit. I heard the shot ring out. I looked to my left, and then I looked over to my right. I saw him slump over in his chair forward. He slumped over. He had blood coming from the left side of his neck down his shirt, and he slumped over and he was carried off.
Deb, we're not doing it. I'm sorry.
Get off me!
Again, why would they be moving in like that to shut this guy up? I don't know. But it just, again, what I try to do is I just look for patterns and inconsistencies. And what I'm seeing in this is that there are a lot of inconsistencies. And that's not even getting into the whole, like the weapon use, which we're going to be diving into that, because this is where it gets even more crazy, right? As we get into some of that other stuff. So continuing, here's another weird thing. So this is the booth. This is the tent that Charlie was speaking under. And if you look closely here, right where behind where Charlie was seated, there was a camera placed up there. Now, for one, I think this is about between 5 and 6 minutes after the shooting occurred. But let's take a look, though, and see. Well, for one, I'll make the point of saying this is now a crime scene. So why is this not kind of cordoned off instantly? Why are there still people running around, for one? But also, watch what this guy does to the camera. So there's literally a camera, like it would be a high-resolution camera, sitting right behind Charlie, which would have captured, I would imagine it would have captured very, very good footage. It would be really useful in understanding what happened. So watch what happens, though. Again, this is, it is about, let me rewind it here. This is right, again, 5 to 6 minutes after the shooting happened. Watch what happens here. So you see this guy kind of standing around. Doesn't look like he's police to me or anything.
Safety team is here. I just heard them say the active shooter, Charlie Kirk, has been shot. Charlie Kirk got hit, is what the
So you can see, though, what he does, though,
security detail just
is he stands up and he starts removing the camera. Why would he do that? You see right here, he takes the camera down. And where's that footage? And that's the other strange thing about this, is the footage. So for one, these campuses have hundreds, if not thousands, of security cameras everywhere. And they're not like the old school, like 480 crappy security cameras where you have these pixelated, very hard to see images. I mean, these are probably, I would imagine, 1080 or 4K security cameras. Yet all we've been given is a really, really low resolution camera angle of the guy climbing down the back of the building. That's really about it. I mean, I would imagine that at this event, there's probably hundreds of high resolution cameras all around. Yet there's no strong close-up footage aside from the footage directly in front of Charlie, which again is just, here's another one of these anomalies. But now we get into the gun. And this is where things start to look a little more, like, to me, this is where the story really goes off the rails, right? If everything made sense with the gun, then perhaps some of these other anomalies could be overlooked. But Ryan Matta, good friend of mine over on Twitter, he put this out. I like his sarcasm. He says, "Can everyone please help me confirm if I'm following this timeline correctly?" So first, he's talking about Tyler Robinson. First, he drives to the woods and drops the gun off. Then he drives to campus. Now, again, this is the story that we're being told. Now, maybe there's been some updates since, this post from Ryan, which was, I think, today, but still. So first he drives to the woods and drops the gun off. Then he drives to campus. Then he parks the car. Then he walks back to the woods to get the gun. He puts only the gun in his pant leg and walks to campus while the scope was in his backpack bouncing around. He then climbs onto the roof. He then changes outfits. Then he reassembles the gun with a screwdriver, which is what they're telling us. It was a screwdriver. He takes the shot, and it just so happens that the scope was perfectly dialed in. So that's a very important point. Okay. For if anyone has shot guns or, maybe knows without shooting guns, I can tell you that if you have to do something called zeroing in your scope. So especially if you're taking a barrel off the gun. So if you're using a screwdriver, which it would have been a screwdriver, it would have been some sort of like hex wrench or Allen wrench or something. But either way, maybe they call it a screwdriver, but it was an Allen wrench or a screw with a Allen head in it. When you take a gun apart, if you take a scope off and you put the scope back on the gun, it's not zeroed in. It's not accurate. You actually have to go through a process of zeroing in your scope, right? Whether it's at 25 yards or 50 yards or 100 yards or whatever it is, you actually have to go then and reset your scope. I'm sure you've seen the sniper movies where they're dialing in things and everything. Now they're adjusting the scope for, wind and elevation and everything, but you have to zero in your scope. So if you pull the scope off, put it back on, it's not accurate until you zero it in. You can't zero it in without firing a shot. That's how you know. Or you can get, like what I use is I have a little bore laser. It's a laser thing that sticks in the end of the rifle, into the barrel, and it helps you to zero in your scope. It's a quicker way of doing it, but still you have to project a red dot to see where your bullet trajectory is aimed at. So that's a really important point that, you can't just assemble a gun and have it be perfectly accurate, especially at, what they're saying is 200 yards. So again, he reassembles the gun with a screwdriver, takes the shot, and it just so happens the scope was perfectly dialed in. He then changes back to his original outfit. He breaks down the gun. He puts a 24-inch barrel of the gun in his pants and puts the butt of the gun and the scope in his backpack. Okay. Then initially they say they didn't find any tools used to break down this. Now they're saying they found a screwdriver with his DNA on it. So then he jumps off the roof with a 24-inch barrel somehow secured to his leg. He runs to the woods somehow with a 24-inch gun barrel, maybe duct taped to his leg, as Ryan's suggesting. He then reassembles the gun. Right? That's the thing, is that the gun that the FBI is saying they found was a reassembled gun with the scope and the barrel attached. Now, also keep in mind that the scope, if you're sitting a prone position, your scope has to be in a certain place, right? Versus if you're shooting standing up, right? The angle of the gun changes, so the scope needs to be further away. But the scope was mounted back on the gun in a way that you couldn't shoot prone, which means laying down with it, which is another oddity. So anyway, so he goes back in the woods, he reassembles the gun, he leaves it in a towel in the woods, then he walks back to campus and he gets in his car. Okay, but Ryan says the gun was hidden, so why not get into your car and dump the gun in a lake on the ride home, right? But then he drives home and he confesses to his dad, but he lived with his trans boyfriend and chooses to go home to his dad so he can confess. Now he says, as of right now, Tyler is still refusing to cooperate with the police and he's refusing to speak and he has still have not admitted anything. And then he managed to do all this while undetected by the police. He says, can anyone help me put together a timeline of what the media and FBI have told us, including the original stories that Tyler plotted this all on Discord until the CEO of Discord called Cash a liar and told us none of it was true. That there was zero plotting of any crime on the Discord, but now they're saying that there was plotting on Discord. Okay. Again, more anomalies that just don't add up, in my opinion. But now, the real anomalies, in my opinion, to me, the smoking gun, as they say, is when we start looking at the type of gun used, the type of bullet, the 30-06, the type of round that was used, and what the wound was like. So we're gonna dive in. I'm not gonna show you any gory footage. I promise. Like, I've seen enough of it. I'm not here to traumatize you again. So what do we know about the gun? So the gun authorities say was used was a Mauser 98, a common bolt-action rifle typically used for hunting. right? It says the gun is a popular rifle used to hunt bigger game and has a markedly different design and function than modern semi-automatic assault rifles that have made the headlines in mass shootings. The hunting rifle, which has a heavier 30-06 caliber, dates back decades as a German military surplus of millions produced and resold in the United States. Okay, it says authorities say the shooter used a rifle with a mounted scope to strike Kirk in the neck. Okay, again, that's important. Authorities say the shooter used a rifle with a mounted scope to strike Kirk in the neck. The shooter may have been less than 150 yards from Kirk, according to USA Today analysis of satellite imagery. Okay, so we have here a 30-06 round, which is a big round. If you compare, if you've seen, say, a 5.56 round, which is typical, or 2.23, which is your typical kind of AR-15 round, the bullet's like the size of the tip of my pen, right? It's not a very big round. 30-06 is a very, very large round. It's what's used for hunting large game. Like if you had to shoot a bear, a 30-06 would be great for that. If you had to shoot a large buck or something larger game, it's a pretty serious round. It inflicts serious damage. Now I'm going to show you. Okay, so here, this is a high-speed video. Sorry, it's a high-speed video that's kind of broken down in camera. I'll pull it up for you. Okay, showing. This is what a 30-06 round does to a watermelon. Okay, now we saw Charlie get shot. He gets supposedly, as the authorities say, this shooter from 150 yards away shot Charlie directly in the neck with the 30-06 round. What we saw, you saw Charlie react. He kind of falls back. Blood spurts out, hit a vein. He falls over. I'm going to show you what a 30-06 does to a watermelon. Now, obviously, I'm not showing you a ballistic dummy test. You can find them. A ballistic dummy is basically, it's kind of as real as you can get representation of a human being. So they've got skeletal in them. They've got ribs and tissues and organs and a ballistic gel that imitates flesh. But watch what it does to a watermelon. Okay.
Round that won World War II.
I can't tell what's watermelon and what's brain blood.
So right here, look at this. That's a 30-06 being shot out of a bolt rifle.
Right out the back.
Yep.
Completely unstopped, straight through.
Filled the whole frame.
You can see the bullet go straight through.
I didn't care.
The watermelon didn't know it was shot until there was already an exit wound.
It's like slightly
That's
mushroom.
Grandpa's gun. What if you're shooting a Nazi and he's another Nazi behind him?
Look at that vapor trail behind it.
Okay. So when you have a bullet wound, you have an entry wound and you typically have an exit wound. Depends on the caliber. So say someone shoots you in the chest with a 22, you're probably not going to have an exit wound at your back. A 30-06 coming in to your neck, not a very thick part of your body, there's no big bones to stop anything, you would have a significant exit wound. So, okay, look at the watermelon again. Here, I'll play it for you again. Oops.
Behind him.
Look at that vapor trail behind it.
Okay. Okay, right there. So see right there. You can see the entry wound is always way smaller than the exit wound, because when the bullet hits, or it breaks apart, it can, depending on what kind of bullet it is, whether it's hollow point or whatever. But it basically, as it enters in, that's the small hole is where it enters in. If it has an exit wound, which a 30-06 hitting a neck would absolutely have a catastrophic exit wound. Absolutely catastrophic exit wound. Look what happens at the back of that watermelon.
That's wild.
Okay. Now, obviously, Charlie wasn't a watermelon, and I'm trying to be very respectful in this, but I'm just trying to be very honest and blunt. There's no way, in my opinion, there's no way that his neck was hit with a 30-06 round. It would have, his head would have, I'm not going to get into detail, but it would have been a very, very graphic execution. Okay. Now, there's also been the idea, people have been saying, okay, you could see that his shirt moved up a little bit, and there is speculation that he was wearing a body armor plate. And they're saying that the bullet hit, you could see his shirt shift up. They're saying that the round hit his plate and it ricocheted up, and something kind of, part of the bullet ricocheted up and went through his neck. And that's what a lot of the experts are saying. Now, the authorities, as we saw, okay, here's our article. It says the authorities say the shooter used a rifle, to strike Kirk in the neck. So they're saying it was a direct hit into the neck. Now, a lot of other experts that have weighed in are saying there's no way it would have hit the neck because they know what an exit wound is like on a 30-06 and they know what it will do to someone's neck. So they're saying that maybe it hit a body armor plate and it ricocheted up. Okay, that to me makes more sense. So here's a guy, a firearms expert. I'm not gonna play the whole video. I'll play about a minute of it. This guy, you can tell he knows his stuff. Okay, so listen to him describing why he thinks it was a ricochet off the plate. Oh, sorry. Let me pull that back at it. There we go. So watch it here, this guy.
The way that it was. As we move forward a little bit, I want you to see, folks, right here. I want you to notice that there is a spot on the shirt. And that spot on the shirt also correlates with the very top edge of this body armor. And you can also see the first appearance of an entrance wound, and that's really weird too. So when we see an entrance wound from a firearm, especially on the skin and something in an area that's soft tissue like the neck, we normally don't see such a large hole there with the entrance wound. We just don't. When skin is pierced, whether it's a projectile or anything else, that stuff stretches out of the way, then it closes back in on itself. I've talked about this many times with 5.56 and even 9mm wounds, and I have seen 30 cal wounds and even larger wounds. A lot of times with these smaller caliber wounds, even up to 30 cal, it's hard to see a entrance wound at all, especially with 5.56, 9mm. A lot of times you got to stretch the skin. There's techniques that we use when we're assessing casualties where we stretch the skin apart and we're looking for those less than obvious wound channels with an entrance wound. Here we see a fairly massive wound. What is very clear to me is that we had a round that impacted the upper edge of his body armor, and then that round deflected directly upward. So now what we're dealing with is not only a deformed projectile, but it's also now moving upward, which would make the wound larger, both because of its deformation and now its angle of entry, and it's also probably fragmented as well.
Okay. So this guy, he has a steel plate, and he's saying that it ricocheted off the plate, and the bullet, it not the bullet went like this and kind of bounced up, but it could go and it could break into fragments and say something kind of went up into the neck. There's a few things with that. One, he's holding a steel plate there. If you've ever shot guns, I don't have a video to show you of this, but if you look at guns, especially if you're shooting 150 yards, you'll hear two noises. You hear the report from the rifle, you hear the boom, and then you hear, that's it. Okay? I'll use my glass as an example. You fire the gun, boom, right? You hear it. Okay? As soon as that bullet hits a metal plate, you hear it. You hear a ding, and that's how you know. Like, so if you're out on the range and you're shooting, you shoot and you listen, especially the longer if you're 200 yards away, you can hear there's a difference. There's a slight delay as that bullet has to make its way to that plate. So for one, I didn't hear a single noise of it hitting a plate. Now there's also, depends on the kind of body armor. So that plate that he was showing was a steel plate, very thin. Now, let's take a look though. Was he wearing body armor? Okay, let's take a look at a typical level what they call a level 4 plate. So when you look at body armor or plates, okay, there are different levels. The different levels will stop different calibers. As you can imagine, right? So as you get higher, level 2, 3, 4, etc., you need a thicker plate to stop a larger round, right? Such as a 30-06. It's a big bullet coming at you. This is a level 4 plate. Okay? Look how thick that is. Now again, if he was wearing just a steel plate, you would have heard it. You still would have seen it in his shirt. Okay? This is how thick it is. Right? Now, what's it look like if someone's wearing, because we can see Charlie was wearing a t-shirt. If he was wearing a suit jacket and a suit, it'd be very difficult to determine if he was wearing body armor. He was in a t-shirt. Okay? This right here is what it looks like if you are wearing a plate under a t-shirt. Now, granted, this is a tighter t-shirt. It's kind of like a body armor type t-shirt, but you can see a distinctive outline of that plate. So if Charlie was wearing a plate, a body armor plate under his t-shirt, you would have absolutely been able to see it, especially because he's wearing a thin white t-shirt. You would have been able to see it. So up until now, the idea that if we're going with the story that Tyler Robinson used a 30-06 bolt-action rifle to shoot Charlie, we've now established that there's no way it could have been a direct hit in the neck. Okay? Actually, let me show you one more thing. Let me go back to this right here. This is right behind where Charlie was at. Now, there's other pictures of it. I don't have them to show you, but you can see. He had a white banner behind him. We saw what this looks like when the bullet went through a watermelon. We saw what the exit wound would look like. I can tell you with certainty that if he had a direct shot in his neck with a 30-06 round, that white banner would be covered in blood. You would have had a massive, it would have tore a hole through it. So you would have had a bullet hole in that banner behind him, but that banner would be covered in blood. That bullet would have ripped through his neck and it would have just sprayed that white banner behind him with blood. None of that, which makes you think, okay, well, maybe the bulletproof vest ricocheted. That wouldn't have the exit wound. I mean, that may not even have an exit wound, right? Because you have no idea what the trajectory of the force is behind one of the pieces that are ricocheting off the bullet if he was wearing body armor. But as we've gone and looked at, okay, we've established that the level 4 plates are quite thick. Unless he's wearing steel, you would have heard it if it was steel. This is what it looks like. If you're wearing a level 4 plate that is not steel, you're going to see it in a t-shirt. Let's take a look. Was he wearing a level 4 plate? Because this is key, because a lot of people are now saying that, yes, he was wearing body armor. I've even seen it. I think it was Ryan Mattis said that he had someone, I think from the hospital that took him in or whatever, he had someone contact him saying, yes, he was wearing body armor. I'm not calling Ryan a liar. I like Ryan. But he's also researching, he's digging into this. So let's see though. Oops, wrong thing. Let's look. So here's a post from this guy named Genghis Khan. Genghis Khan was he's a retired infantry sniper. This guy was a professional trained sniper. Here's what he says. He says, stop believing these lying goofballs working for the establishment pushing propaganda. Now, I wouldn't jump to the conclusion that people are lying goofballs working for to push propaganda. The people, they're just researching, okay? It's a process. What Genghis Khan says, though, he was not wearing a vest. He had no ballistic plate on. There was no 30-06 round hitting him in the chest and going up into his throat. It's nonsense. So here, let's take a look at Charlie here. Okay, you see him bent forward in that picture. I don't see any indication of a vest. None. I see a white t-shirt on a body. Look right here, Charlie standing. You can clearly see his nipples, right? Men have nipples. If you wear a t-shirt sometimes at a temperature, you can clearly see his nipples. Not to mention, you don't see any outline of a plate there. Okay, another picture here. Oh, wait. There was a... Anyway, I thought I had a different picture. So either way, it doesn't matter. What you can clearly see, though, in my humble opinion, is that Charlie was not wearing a plate. There's other pictures too. You can see it. I mean, if you look and do the research for yourself. Plates don't just attach to your chest too. You can see on his back. There's nothing there. If you're wearing a plate on your chest, you have to wear something that's supporting it. Even if you're wearing the shirt that I showed you, this right here, you're still going to have some ridges and everything because you're holding these plates aren't light. They're 5, 6, 7, 8 pounds. And if you look, there's other pictures of him showing that in different parts of the day, you could see that he was not wearing a plate. And this picture right here, like to me, like this is all the proof that you need. See right there, you can see his nipples showing through. You don't see a shape of a plate. So in my opinion, there's no way that Charlie was wearing a bulletproof plate. So where does that leave us? Okay. So a few things. One, I don't believe that the round fired from the position of supposedly where Tyler Robinson is the round that struck him. Now, he could have fired a blank round because people heard the report sound, they heard the noise, potentially. But I think that someone closer shot him. That's what I believe. Now, I know there's a lot of people that are saying that the whole thing was staged and that it was like a staged execution, and there's a lot of speculation about that. Personally, I believe that he was killed. I'm not in the camp. I don't believe that he faked his own death for any particular reason. There's people that say that the white hats did it, but it's like, I'm not going to kind of go down that rabbit trail. My own belief, based upon everything I've seen, is that he was executed publicly. He was assassinated. I think it was done through a shot into the neck, which hit one of the major veins there. And I personally think that he probably died nearly instantly. And if you look at the amount of blood that came out of there, that's my opinion. So the question is, then who did shoot him? Now, if you look at, I've referred to this very commonly as JFK 2.0 for a lot of reasons. I think of it as JFK 2.0. One, the entire lone gunman theory. Same thing, the lone gunman theory. Okay, and look at Lee Harvey Oswald, who was then taken in. He was shot before he could even go to trial. He was killed instantly. So Tyler Robinson, they've now announced he's on suicide watch. Okay, which is very, very strange. Suicide watch. Honestly, it would not surprise me if tomorrow or the next day, the news is that Tyler Robinson has committed suicide. He's killed himself in his cell. That's what they do. That's what they do. They find a patsy. They frame the patsy. They kill the patsy. And the whole story dies with the patsy. So the fact that he's on suicide watch already, doesn't make sense to me unless you're looking at it from that perspective. JFK 2.0, though, based upon my research into and reviewing the JFK files and reviewing a lot of other information, personally, I believe that it was a very, very likely that the shooter of JFK was actually the driver of the car. And I'm not going to, I've done deep dives into that before. I've shown the videos, and maybe you have your own different ideas. I don't believe that it was Oswald. I think that it was actually, and you can see it. The guy turns around. It looks like you can almost, if you break it down frame by frame, you can see it looks as if the driver of the car turns around and shoots him. Okay? Because that's the thing, is that I think that JFK was a highly orchestrated assassination with multiple backups. They had multiple shooters in different locations to make sure that it happened. It was intentionally done as what you call a mass trauma event. It was done in a way that the entire world would see it on video, and it would scar generations, like deeply. It's still something that's scarring for people. If you ask someone, hey, where were you at when JFK was shot? My parents, they know exactly where they were at. Like it imprinted something on them. And that was what this was like for me, seeing Charlie. I wasn't alive when JFK was shot, but to me, this was a trauma event. Like my body, I can still feel the trauma from this happening. Not as much as the first couple of days. It was like I felt sick for a couple of days after this happened. But again, I think it's JFK 2.0. I think it was a highly coordinated assassination with decoys. You had the Zen character instantly running and saying, I shot him. Okay. And then you have the Tyler Robinson story, which is absolutely full of holes. And so there's a couple other theories, which I'm going to go over just because this is part of the research. And again, as I mentioned before, maybe I did or not, but I'm not going to be getting into who did it, right? That's not the purpose of this episode. I think there's a lot of evidence that points to foreign governments, potentially Israel, the CIA. If you, again, JFK 2.0, go look at that and see who was behind it, okay? It's not the intention of my show tonight. I'm looking at just the hard evidence that we have in front of us. So there's a couple of theories floating around as to who actually did kill him. I'll pull up one here. Okay, so one of the theories is that this guy right here in the front row used what's called a palm pistol. Now, this palm pistol right here, like that image they showed, it's a very old, outdated gun. And there's reasons why. So this had a community note on it, I think, saying that why they think it wasn't him and why it couldn't have been a palm pistol, saying that you would have heard the report, you would have seen a muzzle blast, etc. One thing I want to just kind of put out there is that we can't assume, when you look at if this was a hit carried out by the intelligence agencies, they have assassination weapons that we've never even imagined. I mean, they've got heart attack guns. They've had those for a long time. They can, they've got ways of killing people that are so far beyond what we can even think. I mean, it could have been some sort of air rifle. It could have been some sort of, magnetically propelled, propulsion object. I have no idea. What I do know, though, is that similar to, Batman or any of these other things, they've got their own research teams and they're developing insane weapons, things like pole cues that can, double as a gun, briefcase guns, which those have been along for a long time. But this could have been, we have no idea what this could have been. So the idea, though, is that this guy in the front row, which doesn't look like a college kid. To me, he looks like an ex-special forces kind of guy. That's just what he looks like. I'll show you this video because they're saying that it was a palm pistol shot. Now, again, this could have been some much more advanced weapon than this old school palm pistol. But watch this real quick. I'm not going to play the whole thing, but just watch this. If you watch the guy's movements and timing of when the shot happened, there's some strange things going on. Let's just see this.
Green.
So the click that you hear, this is slowed down a little bit. The click that you hear is the shot being fired. It's just a strange coincidence that, again, this guy's in the front row. He looks like some sort of retired military guy or some sort of special ops guy. He does not look like a college student that's here to hear, kind of be here, try to talk about Jesus. Maybe he is. I apologize if I'm making the wrong accusations, but he's not your typical character you're seeing at a Charlie Kirk thing. But again, you can hear in the video, you hear the click and you can see the exact movement. So did this guy fire some sort of weapon at Charlie? I mean, look how close he is in proximity to where Charlie was shot.
Green.
Sorry for this. I'll turn it down a little
We're
bit.
not counting gang violence.
But see, what's also strange is that after this happens, it looks like he tucks something up under his arm. So let's take a look at that. So you can see, like, he takes whatever he takes a shot, as they say, and then tucks something up under his arm. So could that have been it? Maybe. Right? I'm not saying that it was. It's kind of a wild theory, but if you look at what we're surrounded with, it makes more sense, I think, than the other narratives we're hearing. Now, there's another discussion, though, that the shot came from further back. So let's see, is this one I was going to show you? Okay. So there's a frame. Here, I'll play this for you real quickly. You can see. Okay.
Keep your eye on this space here where the red circle is as the next clip plays. To me, I first seen this and thought straight away, holy shit, that is the bullet. It matches the exit wound. It also matches the shirt puffing up and the angle of the entry and exit. I needed another angle.
So again, this guy, what he's showing is that there's this little dot that appears right before. Now, whether the bullet was caught in the frame, he has a little dot, see, like the little dot that pops up. Okay, that's suspicious. Okay, could the video actually catch a bullet flying through the air? But when you look at I'll continue. When you look at where it appears that object would have come from, this is where it gets a little more suspicious.
Is the exit wound. It also matches the shirt puffing up and the angle of the entry and exit. I needed another angle just to see if this was actually fact, trying to get as much info as I could before I posted anything. And in that video, you can see the same, what appears to be the bullet coming down, and it does line up with the actual gunshot itself.
So this is what's strange here. This is he's going to play this, and from that dark window, which, again, if that window there had a line of sight of Charlie, it would be a great spot. Like, again, if they had multiple people that were in place that were supposed to take the shot or coordinating to make sure that the shot was successful, what he's going to show you here is you'll see a flash at the exact time when the gun goes off. It's like, and this, again, this flash, like that muzzle report you're going to be seeing here, could it have been someone with a flash camera? Maybe. But watch this. It's the chances of this exact flash going off right when the bullet's fired, very, very, very unlikely in my opinion. Watch this.
Counting gang violence. Great.
So again, I needed another angle. I found this video, and this one's a little bit harder to see, but you can see something go down into the back right-hand side of Charlie. So from this, looking at Google Earth and drawing a line from where I believe the shooter was, his tent being set up in the middle of that triangle area, would appear that the shooter was up here somewhere. That's the angle that the bullet was coming down from. It all makes sense to me.
Okay, so there's another video I don't have to show you, but basically what it shows is that this, there's another different video that analyzes this a little more closely, and what you see is as soon as the shot is heard, in that little spot right there, you'll see there's a little flash, like a muzzle flash. Now, could that have been it? I don't know, right? That's the thing is, I don't know. I don't have the answers here. But what I've established in my own kind of understanding of the situation is that this Tyler Robinson is absolutely a patsy. The shot was not his. There's no way he got hit in the neck with 30-06. I don't believe he was wearing body armor, so I don't believe the whole ricochet story. I don't believe that he faked his death and that he was using some sort of Hollywood kind of blood type thing to, to fake his death. I don't believe that's the case either. I think that there was some other shooter or multiple shooters that were coordinating that were closer to him that pulled off the shot, and it was part of an intricate story to get us, all focused on this patsy. And that's the thing too, is if you look at the news cycle and you look at a lot of the big influencers that are talking about this, it's like everyone's now focused on Tyler Robinson. No one's even asking these hard questions. They've already moved past that. A lot of people are like, oh, obviously it was this guy. And wow, he was, dating his boyfriend was a trans furry, and he was on Discord and these trans groups. And we just had a trans shooting at the Catholic Annunciation School, and we have a history of trans shooters. So it just fits the perfect narrative that of course it was just Tyler Robinson guy, but no one's asking these hard questions, and no one's asking about the guy. Not no one. There's a lot of people that are asking, and that's why I'm here. There's been some great evidence and great research, but each are on the mainstream media. You look at the more mainstream, large platform voices, especially on the conservative side, big accounts. They're just going straight along the lines of this. Right? They've already decided that it was Tyler Robinson. He was some radicalized teen or 22-year-old. It's part of the whole left versus right agenda, and it just fuels the divide. But to me, that whole story, it's like you kind of go like this. That whole story is a giant psyop. It's something that is intentionally going to be leading us down that path. And to be honest, I think that give it a month or 2 months or so, of course, people like myself and others are going to keep digging and bringing new stuff up. But I think in the minds of the American people, they're just going to be convinced it was Tyler Robinson. He did it. Case closed. And same with JFK. It was Oswald. Case closed. Now, a lot of people question it. And over time, the truth eventually does trickle out. But I think that we're just being lied to. I think that we're being fed a lot of misinformation. I think that similar to Butler, right? Like I did what, 4 or 5 live shows just like this, breaking down the Butler assassination attempt and the water tower shooter and eyewitnesses. It was the exact same thing. And I would have thought that Trump would have got into office and would have done ripped the whole cover off the Butler assassination and came back and said, okay, we figured out it was a Secret Service. There was a cell within the Secret Service that had turned bad. It was coordinated. But no one's even questioned it. And if you ask the average person, hey, what happened with Butler? It's like, oh yeah, it was that one young guy on the roof that tried to kill him and it hit his ear, and it just gets washed away with history, and people move on to the next thing. Similar to the stabbing of the Irina girl on the public transportation, we're already past that. We've already forgotten about it. Like, forget the fact that the guy mentioned that he had material placed into his body that caused him to do it. Like all the markings of some sort of MK Ultra program type thing. It's like, nope, we've already moved past that. And so that's why I do these videos though, because like I'm earnestly trying to figure out what happened here, and I don't believe the official narrative. And maybe, you know, in 20 years or so, someone digs up this exact video and saying, "Wow, this guy, he was onto something." Maybe so, or maybe in 20 years, no one even remembers this anymore. We've moved on, and who knows where our country is going to be. So, anyway, that's the first half of the show. That is me walking you through where I'm at, what I think. My conclusion is that I don't know. I actually don't know who killed him. I don't know who's behind it. I have some suspicions about, you know, which government, which agencies were behind it. I don't think that it was some lone gunner. I don't think it was some trans, you know, violent trans group that wanted to kill Charlie Kirk. Not at all. Not at all. But anyway, so I want to get into the comments now, which I've been waiting to get into this. I've been very excited to get into this, and getting into hearing what your thoughts are. So we've got a lot of activity here in the chat. I haven't looked at the comments the whole thing because I've been focused on doing the show. However, I do want to hear from you now. I want to hear. So now I have the comments up. So we've got, this is Rumble. We've got YouTube here as well. Both chats are very, very active, which is great to see. So if there is a comment that you want me to see, you want me to react to, or, you know, talk about it, then let's see. So American Misfit says, "Why, Seth, I find your lack of mentioning the juice highly suspect." The juice. Maybe he's saying the Jews. Well, again, that's not the purpose of this episode. I'm not going to be, you know, if you want to go see, you know, Candace Owens, or go follow Max Blumenthal, Gray Zone. I'm not getting into who I think did it in this episode. That's not the point of it. Maybe when the time is right, I can come in and do more research. I think it's early to say exactly who it was. I think that there's layers and layers of control. And to be honest, I think that in a lot of ways, Israel's a puppet for the Vatican, and it gets deep. So that we're not going to be going down those rabbit holes in today's show. However, I do want to hear what you think. Okay. So getting into the chat. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, why am I amazed? What about the baseball signals at the exact time of the shooting, or maybe a blood bag Hollywood special effects blow up in the shirt, or the fake, you know, Trump Hollywood assassinations? So yeah, the baseball signals. Yeah, that was something that I also saw, right? And I didn't get into that, but yeah, there's a guy who does something with his hat, and there's some weird signaling, which I think to me it points to exactly what we've come to, is that this was highly coordinated. There was probably multiple people involved, very, very close to him. Yeah. Now, again, maybe a blood bag Hollywood special effect that blows up in the t-shirt. But look, I've thought about this. I've thought, okay, what you'd be implying there is that it was a fake death, right? That Charlie Kirk was faking his own death, by doing that. To be honest, I can't figure out a motive for that. I can't, like, so let's just imagine he was faking his own death. I really can't figure out what kind of a motive would be behind that. Because it's caused, unless maybe he wanted to be a martyr to the public, and maybe he wanted to inspire the young to stand up and fight back against the system. I don't know. I don't know. I just, again, that's to me, like, that's my gut. Ben DeRox, Ben, you're here on every show. I want to thank you, Ben, for always being here. You're such a staple in the Man in America audience. So shout out to Ben DeRox. I always appreciate when you're here. He says, "What's a larger picture? Let's zoom out and explore the possibilities." Yeah, you know, you're right. I think that the larger picture with this, actually, and I covered it in my show. Let me see. Actually, I'm not gonna pull it up. Actually, I'll see if I can pull it up for you. So my show that I did, this one right here. Okay. If you haven't watched this show, it was 4 days ago on my channel, on YouTube and on Rumble, this is where I get into the bigger picture. and I start looking at, okay, what is the bigger picture? I think that this is part of a 3-stage collapse of America, as outlined in, well, all the history books you can see. But the 3 stages are isolation, synchronized chaos, and collapse/civil war. That's where I think that we're at. I think that we're in the synchronized chaos stage. And I think that, again, isolation, breaking society apart. Look what COVID did. Then you move from isolation, you move into synchronized chaos. I absolutely believe that we're in synchronized chaos stage, which unfortunately, I think it's going to get worse. I think that it's going to get worse, unfortunately. Yes. Actually, and then it gets into civil war. I think actually that's the end goal. I think that they want us to have civil war. They want us to have collapse. They want to have violence in the streets, because civil war, again, if you go back in history, look at whether it's the Spanish Civil War, even look at the fall of Rome, what you see is that civil war almost always leads to tyranny. Civil war happens, dictators come in, military coups, etc. So I think that's the bigger picture. You zoom out, I think that's what they're trying to do here. And that's why it is so public. It wasn't about silencing Charlie Kirk. If they want to silence Charlie Kirk, he could have gotten in a mysterious car accident. He could have had a heart attack. He could have had any number of things happen to him. It wasn't about silencing him. It was about the reaction, right? I think it was Saul Alinsky, I think I quoted him before. The action is always the enemy's reaction. Right? It's not about the action. It's not about like him getting shot. It's about the reaction. And I think what they're doing is they're taking everybody, they're traumatizing people, and they're traumatizing at the same time they're putting in all this messaging about civil war and everything. And they want to kind of just take our society and swing us to the point we've got violence in the streets. It gets really, really bad. Next thing you know, politicians are being shot, martial laws coming in, military takeover, coups. That's what I think is the bigger picture. Okay. Continuing. Al by Day says Zionist billionaires funded Kirk's TP organization to the tune of hundreds of thousands of dollars. There's actually millions of dollars, tens of millions. And his questioning of U.S.-Israel relationship was viewed by the donor class as jeopardizing their investment. Yeah, go look at Candace Owens' show from today. Listen to that. Again, I'm not going to get into that in today's show. Maybe I will a little bit later. But yeah, absolutely. There's a lot of strange things going on with the donor class and with Israel, and right. So yes. Guapaloco says, get more ballistic opinions to demonstrate that the caliber isn't consistent. Dude pulling a sure angle does not match exit wound. No, yeah, it's kind of what I talked about here. So Gunny R says, what if it's to shock the public to prepare them for more horrific stories to be broadcasting? For example, Adreno, the human child traffic, SRA realities. Well, I'm not sure who would be intentionally doing that. Maybe if it's the deep state, the cabal, trying to start bringing more horror in. If they're harvesting the loosh, they're sucking off all the fear and the negative energy that's coming from this. Yeah, that makes sense. But I don't think that they're doing it in a way that they're trying to get people used to bad things. So then that way, when they exposed, adrenochrome harvesting and child trafficking and satanic ritual abuse that were more acceptant of it, I don't think that was, I don't think so. Yeah, Tim L. T-Bird says, civil war will justify total lockdown and stripping of rights. Absolutely. That's what happens, right? And as I mentioned in the show that I told you should go watch, I think there's a lot of people that on the right that think civil war is the answer. They have this idea that, if we have civil war, then the conservatives, we can finally defeat the liberals and take control of the country and take it back to 1776. That's not how it works. Like, if there's civil war in America that happens, I'm sorry, but our country's done, right? Like, if there's civil war, you're going to have Chinese troops showing up. You're going to have UN troops showing up. You're going to have all hell break loose. So, yeah. Ramble on 365. What do you think about the ring switching fingers? So I used to work in the jewelry industry. I used to sell jewelry. I had an auction house and did stuff like that. I can tell you the whole ring switching fingers thing to me is totally explainable, because it was a ring that that opens up. So, and there's other videos of him opening his ring up. So they make these rings for people that have especially for people with arthritis. So a lot of older women in particular, if they get arthritis, their knuckles swell. And so you have these rings that actually open up. And so you open up, you can clip it. It's almost like a little handcuff, right? It opens up, you can clip it onto your ring. So Charlie, his ring was that kind of ring. It was a ring. So I think that he played with it a lot. It was probably like a little nervous tick he had of just kind of fumbling with his ring. And so if that ring was not fully clasped and closed when he got shot, it's highly likely that could have happened where the ring kind of was split open and it rotated and it looked like it switched fingers. So that's my thought about the ring. Because a lot of people are saying, oh, look at the ring, it switches fingers. This is AI. No, to me, it's explainable. Tim L.T. Bird says it won't be back to 1776. I agree. It won't be back to 1776. To be honest, our country hasn't had the morality to get back to 1776. It wasn't just about the rule of law. It was about morality. And unfortunately, this is through cultural Marxism and really just Satan controlling so much of our country. Our morality is just, I mean, pardon my French, it's in the shitter. Like we live in a very immoral nation. Like look at the Planned Parenthood, the children, the babies, unborn children being sacrificed to Moloch every day. I don't think that our country can get back to 1776. I think that we need, honestly, I think that a reset is what's coming. I think it's what's needed. And I think it's going to be very difficult. Actually, and I'll mention something with that, right? Because I really do. I'm not trying to be a fear mongerer, but I do believe personally that our country is starting to enter into the death spiral. I think that we're at end of empire type times here. And I think that, again, going back into these stages of isolation, synchronized chaos, collapse, civil war, I think that we are at synchronized chaos. Maybe it's like stage 3 of 10. I think it's going to get much worse. And I think that we're going to have our country is going to fall as we know it. Now, I'm not a prophet. I'm not predicting that, but it's my opinion. My gut feeling is like, you look at how much evil there is in this country. You look at the military industrial complex, the pharmaceutical industrial complex, the corruption of the politicians, the control by outside countries. Our country, it's like if it's a cancer patient, it's like the cancer is in the bones of this country, and it needs to be reset. It needs to kind of be broken apart and rebuilt with a righteous perspective, which is why I'm writing my book, Prep Like Noah. So I think that, preparedness is one of the single most important things about this. And this is just a little kind of side point, is that people asking, what can you do? Okay, one, don't get pulled into this. Don't be walking out, on the street saying it's the left, fight left versus right. No, it's us versus them. It's us versus the elites. The elites want to kill us. They want to depopulate us. They want to to harvest everything they can from us, and they don't need us anymore. So we have to prepare. I'll talk about in a little bit. Actually, I'll talk about now. So part of what I'm doing, just to kind of highlight this, is that I'm launching a community, right? So as part of this is one of the solutions that I see, is that we have to come together and we have to build a community of people that see like-minded and that have a vision for prepare. So I'm launching a community. It's not open. It's in beta testing right now. It's opening up to the public in a couple of weeks. It's called the ARC Community. So it is a private online community, right? Or for those who cherish faith, family, and freedom, where we can learn, connect, and prepare for uncertain times together. So it's about meeting people that share your values, that want to be prepared together, that can share your skills. So the ARC Community, we're going to have training tutorials on there. So if you want to learn about water or food preservation or raising chickens or home defense, we're going to have like courses you can take to learn. We're going to have a video library on there so you can actually learn these things. But also there's a huge community of people that we're building. So if you can meet people in your local area, there's chapters. So we actually set there's 8 different chapters in America. So you can meet people locally, you can connect with them, and you can just kind of band together. Because that's honestly, this is what I see it. We have to build our ark. I really believe that we're in the days of Noah. The flood is coming. It's already raining. Like, that's how I feel. The flood is already starting, and we have to build our arks. That's why we created the ARC Community. So if you want to be part of that, right now, again, we haven't opened up the public yet. We'll probably trickle it out. So the earlier people who sign up to be probably the earlier test groups, I'd recommend, if you have any interest, signing up now. Again, the website is buildtheark.com. Put in your name and your email, join the wait list. It's going to be a way that you can meet other people like you. I'm very active on there. You can interact with me as much as you want on there. It's really about building a community of people that want to preserve the virtues of our nation, that want to learn how to take care of our families, how to be more prepared, how to get through whatever's going to come our way, and just stand together. So anyway, the URL for that is in the description. It's buildtheark.com. Just go there, put your name in there, put your email in there, join the wait list, and we'll let you know as soon as we open it up. And the earlier you are on the wait list, the more chance you're going to have in getting in at that first stage of opening up, because obviously we don't want to have 5,000 people on day one. We're going to be slowly kind of trickling out. So if you want to get first in line to join the community, go to buildtheark.com and sign up. Okay, so continuing here. Actually, I'm going to kick on my AC real quick because I am hot in here. I'm cooking. It is 74 inside my studio. And so anyway, continuing back to the live chat, I'll give YouTube a quick chance. Let's see what's happening on the YouTube. Humble Pie says, thank you, Self, for helping your fellow man. Sorry, saying thank you, Seth, for helping your fellow man. Yeah, Humble Pie. I like your name for one, but yeah, absolutely. You're absolutely welcome. Let's see. Okay. I see. BHHS. Nick Fuentes is on, boys. Let's go. Yeah, I think Nick Fuentes he's doing his live show right now. I feel honored that you're here with me instead. Thank you. Paul Metis says, Candace Owens has told you who's responsible. Yeah, honestly, I'd want to recommend you check out her show. It just came out today. Check out her show. Robin Williams says, don't trust Cash. He's strangely quiet on everything. He was a big talker before he got in there. Now it seems like he's joined the club. Yeah, I've interviewed Cash before. I knew him. I kind of like knew kind of FBI Cash, and met him backstage a lot at different events. And I'm not going to judge him because I cannot imagine what it's like stepping into an organization like that. It's easy for us from the outside to be like, oh, we do things this way. I have no idea what it's like for him to step into that. But yeah, he's not, in my opinion, he's not representing what I imagine he would have been at the head of the FBI. Same with Bongino. But again, I have no idea what kind of stress they're under. I have no idea what kind of pressure, who knows what. So back to Rumble. Yeah, Bend to Rocks. At least you have a nice voice tonight, Seth. Yeah, thank you. My show the other night, my voice was going out. It's 95% there. I had some honey onion that night, and it's much better. Okay, continuing. Someone's talking about DMSO. Yeah, DMSO is great. We use it in our home. We have it. The apricot pits can cure cancer. Yeah, I've done a bunch of interviews with John Richardson. That's a whole different subject. Okay, so Sonia MM3, so I'll call you Sonia, who says, you were so right about the technology and guns. I think it has something to do with the correlation with the man staying behind Charlie with his phone turned directly to Charlie. Honestly, it's like, to kind of hit that point again, is we have no idea what kind of technology that they have. I mean, honestly, it could have been a high-speed drone. Like literally, it could have been a high-speed, tiny nano drone that just flew in and went into his neck, and exploded. Like that could have been what it was. We have no idea what kind of technology we're up against here. So, yeah. I hear Hobbit 916 saying this is a spiritual war. I absolutely agree. And actually, Ben to Rocks, you'd asked kind of what the bigger picture is. And to me, that's the bigger picture. The bigger picture is that this is a spiritual war. This is good versus evil. It's Satan versus God. It is angels versus demons. And that's why for me, like the first defense, like the first line of defense I have is God and my faith. And that's what I'm trying very hard to strengthen in my own home, in myself, is again, to have that strength. To be honest, one of the reasons why I think faith is so important is because it keeps you centered. Like when a lot of your existence is being driven by a calling, a higher calling, a divine purpose, right? Serving God. To me, it enables you to look at these situations and not be controlled, right? Because if you look at a lot of this nation, they are being controlled like puppets on a string. Okay? It's like, okay, hate the left, hate the right. It's this person. Like, people are just being led by their emotions, by their fear. And to me, it's like keeping grounded in faith. Absolutely. Absolutely. So Denovia, magic ring that changes fingers. Actually, I'm going to find really quick. Let me actually pull up what the ring looks like. Okay. So let me see. Ring that opens. We used to call them arthritis rings. And so anyway, I'll find a good picture for you. Yeah, hinged shank rings. So this is what they look like. There's a variety of, again, like I used to sell these things. There's a variety of mechanisms with them of different kinds, but they're made for people that have arthritis, and it makes it easier to get your ring on and off. And so I've seen videos of Charlie playing with that ring. Like, there's some that open up like this, like they kind of just expand out, but there's also, again, there's some that actually completely hinge open, just like this, right? There you go. So Charlie's ring was this kind of a ring. Okay. So if you can imagine that he had it in the open position, which I've seen videos of him close up, people have went back and found them, of him kind of fumbling with this ring. It's some, like I hold a pen, I hold a zebra pen when I'm doing my thing on camera, and whatever you call ADHD, I like little fidgety things. So that ring was a fidget thing for him. And if that ring, if you imagine, if he had it unlocked like that, and in his body had a quick, sudden movement, it looked like it was like a signet ring. So it was a heavier kind of ring towards the top. It absolutely could have spun around. So I don't buy the whole story that there's some sort of AI and the ring proves it, etc. Mondi, yeah, Vice President Vance filling in for Charlie Kirk podcast is wild. Yeah, wild. Yeah, it's strange. It felt very strange to me, actually. Like my reaction to that was more negative than positive. It's like an independent podcaster is assassinated, and the vice president then does a show in his place. It just seemed weird. I'm seeing I have a lot of concern about the merger of public and private that's going on, even under the Trump administration. So, yep. Let's see. Govan Locke says, sadly, religion has been used as a method of control many times. That's not to discredit your views on your religion, though. Yeah, I agree. Like, every religion has been weaponized. If the wrong people get in control of it, and if people put their faith in man, if you believe your priest is the key, if you believe the bishop is the key, that's dangerous, right? Like, my faith is between me and God. There's no man, there's no pastor telling me what to believe. There's no pastor interpreting, things for me. It's just between me and God, and there's no man that will get in between that. But yeah, absolutely. It can be used for very, very bad reasons. Red Ace says, could Charlie have played with the ring when he put the mic down just before the shot? Yeah, that's, I think, exactly what was happening. He was playing with the ring, and he was playing with it. I think he got shot. Yeah, he had the microphone. He was holding the microphone in his hand. So he was playing with it, because you saw in the timeline, the microphone, he oftentimes sets the microphone down when he's listening to his questions. And he was fidgeting with the ring. He picked the microphone up, he brought it up, and he was setting it down. I think he was putting it down when he got shot, and it kind of fell to the side. So Aaron P1219, Charlie Kirk could have been an actor for the military operation the whole time. Could have been. I don't know. I don't believe that. I don't look, the whole Q military operation devolution, like, I've interviewed John Harold like a bunch of times earlier on. I've gone down those rabbit holes. I've read the drops. I think it's, I don't believe it. That's just where I'm at. I don't believe that the state of our country right now is the state of our country that is under some sort of white hat controlled military operation. There's too much chaos. There's been too much death as a result of Operation Warp Speed. So I don't buy it. So that's just my opinion. If that allows you to sleep at night, that you are convinced that all of these terrible things that are happening are part of a white hat military operation, and if that's what allows you to kind of get through the stresses of this world, good for you. right? Like, good for you. I appreciate your willingness to research and be open-minded. For me, though, I don't believe it. I've also had a lot of closed-door conversations with General Flynn. He's a good friend of mine, who people say was like the center of the Q operation. He's gotten angry, behind closed doors, not at me, but just about this stuff. And so, again, that's just not me. Okay, continuing. Yeah, Ben DeRocks, thank you. Everyone, if you're watching on Rumble, we've got 2,500 people watching roughly. Hit the like button. Like, literally right now, if you're watching on Rumble, do me a favor, go hit that like button, because those likes, it's not just for vanity. It's not for me to like count my likes at the end of the night, actually, because the likes help push the algorithms. It shows interaction. It's really good for Rumble. It means I can get featured more. All the things that you'd hope for as a creator. So yes, thanking you. Thank you for mentioning that. And yes, reminder, hit the like button. Also, make sure you subscribe. Make sure you hit that, whether you're watching on YouTube or Rumble, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Okay. All right. Oh, so Donna Villa says, good night, family. Ciao, blessings. Good night, Seth family. Thank you, Donna Villa, for being here tonight. I always enjoy seeing your name. Yep. And yeah, there we go. Yeah, Tim L.T. Bird, who says, well, I feel the administration is trying to make it a military operation. Yeah, I feel like that. There's as much as people say all that, Trump is part of a military operation and you're getting in Derek Johnson and all his ideas and everything. I am concerned about what it means to have the military deployed in the cities. To me, it's again, same thing with Vance on Kirk's podcast. We're seeing a somewhat concerning merger of private and public, of the government and things that should be private. Even the government taking 10% share in Intel. These are concerning to me. But I've also thought, right? Because and I got into in the other show that I did last night or a couple nights ago about the 3-stage collapse. Oh, hey, wow, Govinlock, thank you very much for that $20 tip. Thank you. She says, thanks, Seth. Enjoyed the show, or he. Thanks, Seth. Enjoyed the show. Anyway, maybe Trump does see that we're entering into the synchronized chaos stage. And, because you have to ask yourself, during his entire first term, we had cities burning, we had like the insanity out in Portland, we had all that stuff going on, but Trump never once deployed the military, as far as I can concern. Like in terms of what he's doing now, he never once used the military in the way that he's doing now. But right now, it's like things are very peaceful overall, right? We don't have cities being burned down. We don't have mass looting and rioting, the kind of stuff that we had happening in 2016, 17, et cetera. So maybe, part of what Trump is doing with the military is maybe he sees that there is a lot of chaos coming. I hope not, but again, that's what my gut tells me. Which is again why make sure you go, quick little plug, make sure you go to buildtheark.com and put your name and your email in there, and you're going to be on the early list to get into the community as soon as it opens up. It's going to be amazing, right? It's going to be so amazing. And actually, one of the keys is that we're using the online community to build offline connection. We're setting up chapters. We're going to have, say you're in Florida, right? So say you're in the Southeast chapter. There's going to be meetups. So you can meet people. We're going to be trainings. We have expert Q&As and trainings on there. So we're going to bring on people that are experts in, say, permaculture, food storage, home defense, and do training sessions, Q&As. Also, next year, my hope is to have our first annual ARC meetup, right? So this will be a nationwide meetup that I'll be hosting. So if you want to come and maybe a 2 or 3 day event where you can come in, hang out with me, meet all the other ARC community members, because again, the key is building community. It's honestly, when it gets to prepping, a lot of people think that prepping is about having a huge collection of guns and ammo and all that kind of stuff. It's important, food, etc. But the most important part, in my humble opinion, about prepping is community. And that's why we're building the ARC community. So go to buildtheark.com and sign up. Bender Rocks. Yeah, Yuri Bezmenov has warned about this. You're absolutely right. You are absolutely right. Hobbit 916. Flynn was a major general over PSYOP operations. He does. And he says, I think he knows a lot about the Q operation. Yeah, I've talked to him about it a lot, again, in kind of closed doors behind, not on these public platforms like this. And my understanding of him is that he thinks that the whole movement is a complete distraction, and he gets really angry if you bring it up anymore, because he's tried over and over. And actually, I did an interview with him. I asked him publicly. He got really upset. He got really upset on one of my interviews, and he was actually kind of bad mouthing the Q movement, and how kind of, I forget what he called people about it. But anyway, people weren't very happy about that. But that's how he felt. So anyway, Even Eve, thank you for that contribution, Even Eve. I really appreciate that. Thank you. T-Bone, darn, I came in late. No, well, the good thing, T-Bone, is that once we finish, you can then watch the replay. So I'm sorry, T-Bone, that you just got here. I was missing you earlier, man. Where's my T-Bone at? And anyway, it's good to see you. Salt Airden, what about Canada? Actually, yeah, that's actually one thing too. Sorry, I forgot to mention about the art community is that it's not just going to be America, right? So it's really about, obviously we're the hub of things will be happening in America, but it's for anybody around the world. So say you're in Canada and say you want to be the steward of the Canada chapter, absolutely. So it's going to be an international platform. It's only in English. So, if you're you don't speak English, you might have a hard time participating on there. But yeah, it's open up to everyone around the world. So, okay. White Knight, he says, I heard Klaus Schwab was talking about the reset again. I didn't see that. It wouldn't surprise me. It's like, I thought the guy retired. But yeah. Aaron, actually, I want to comment. Aaron P. 1219. I've been glued to my phone since 2017 every day, and nothing feels real anymore. My recommendation is put the phone down more. Honestly, these phones are dangerous tools. The cell phone in our pockets is the most dangerous psychological operation tool, like mass control. Like, phones are very bad. Like I unfortunately I use it. I have to research on it and everything. Very bad. So, get out in nature, get your barefoot on the ground, etc. Zeitghost, can we join the ARC from Australia? Absolutely. Right. The ARC is open for everybody. Actually, my wife's Australian, so there's going to be an Australian kind of tone to some things on there. So absolutely. I've got a lot of family in Australia soon. I'll get them to join it. Yep. Absolutely. You are welcome, from Australia. TX Liberty Bell says, I don't want to read it real quickly. TX Liberty Bell says, I felt so defeated and depressed during the Biden presidency op. I feel like that again now. I'm in the same boat, actually. I mean, I feel positive, but not because of what's happening in the administration. I feel positive because I've taken a lot of control, and we live out in the country. We're on 7 acres. We've got chickens. I feel like that's where I get my positivity. But yeah, like I feel nothing like what I would have expected I'd feel at this stage when Trump first won. Like, I was thinking he was going to come in and kind of make these massive big changes. And of course, I know he's trying. He's up against a lot, but I don't feel I don't feel as if I can trust the current government much more than I could trust Biden. And I'm sorry to say that, and I hope I'm proved wrong. And obviously, there's a lot of good things that Trump is doing, and some positive wins and RFK, and there's some great things that are happening. But fundamentally, I don't think that the Trump administration is just this like kind of savior administration that's going to come in and completely clear out the deep state. What I've seen is that the control of the deep state is absolutely massive. And when you see Trump at dinner with Bill Gates and Zuckerberg next to him, and we see him bringing Larry Ellison up on stage and, all that kind of stuff, it absolutely it concerns me. It really does. Aaron says, I will do more of that. Thanks. Honestly, Aaron, like, I'm serious. I'm serious. Maybe you need to have like a dopamine detox, right? Go a week without using your phone. I guarantee you'll feel better. These phones are unfortunately, I have to use it. It's how I do my research a lot of times, but these phones they are Satan's best tool for destroying humanity. Like I've got 2 little girls, 1-year-old and a 4-year-old. They won't have smartphones until they're at least 18, like at least 18. There's no way. There's no way. They're so destructive. They're so destructive, and they're addictive. Social media, it's addictive, and it pulls you in. It pulls you into a fake world where your worldview is controlled by algorithms and all the negativity out there. And so that's, for me, what makes me feel good is I go out, I play with my dogs, I go walk and feed the chickens, go pick some stuff out of the garden, be barefoot, see my girls outside, go out in the swimming pool with my little girls. Like, that's what brings me happiness. It's never on a phone. Never on a phone. Oh, wow. White Knight gifted 5 subscriptions to Man in America. Wow. Thank you. Well, that's incredible. I'm not sure how that even works, but thank you. That's amazing. Yeah, thank you. Sleuth Doll, good evening. Good evening. Good evening. Yeah, Gallivanter, between Peter Thiel, Palantir, and the Epstein files and dinner with the Facebook guy and Bill Gates, it's not hopeful. I have to say, I agree, right? When Trump's coming out and he's saying that the Epstein files are a complete hoax, and you've got Gates, rubbing elbows with them, and Zuckerberg, and Bezos, and Peter Thiel, and Palantir, and you have Palantir getting $100 million contracts and all this kind of stuff. This is why I'm out in the country building off-grid systems, building my own, off-grid food systems, building relationships with local farmers. That's what I'm doing. Yeah, that's what I'm doing. I'm not, my trust is not in the government, and you probably can see that by now. That's just how I am. Let me pop over to Guapa Loco says, "Hey, I'm watching your show via phone." Well, look, if you use your phone to watch Man in America, it's okay. That's okay. Because I hope that I can, even though I cover some dark stuff. We kind of do go down some deep and dark rabbit holes, but I do hope that I can still give you a little bit of hope in humanity and a little bit of hope in your future. I really do. I hope that you can finish watching me and think, I feel a little better. I feel just a little bit better, right? But it's not, I don't want to make you feel better by lying to you or by burying the head in the sand or by telling you it's all going to be okay and that it's a white hat operation. No, like I'm going to tell you the hard facts. Like, I'm going to tell you how I see it. I feel like it's my duty to you to be honest with you. And the honest truth is that we live in a dark world. We're living, again, these are the days of Noah, right? We don't live in the blissful golden age of America, right? I think that we are in the end of the age of the empire. Honestly, I think that we're in the end of the American empire timing. That's where we're at. Doesn't mean we're doomed, right? It means that something has to be rebuilt, right? Similar to the ark, right? God didn't tell Noah to build an ark just so that he could survive, right? No, the purpose was that Noah had to use his ark as a way to get through the tribulation of the flood so he could rebuild on the other side. And that's what I see. Like, that's what I see, that my mission is to get through the collapse of whatever's coming and help you rebuild a society that follows God's law, that's governed by virtue and morality, that celebrates family and goodness and good things, and like create a world that doesn't have Hollywood and all this kind of stuff in it. That's what I see. So that's a lot of reason why I'm doing the ark. Again, buildtheark.com. Make sure you sign up there. Okay, I'm gonna go check out YouTube real quick. Just see how everyone's doing on YouTube. Sorry, YouTube people. I haven't been on over here as much, but the reality is that Rumble is where free speech is allowed. Almost all of my health interviews I can't even put on YouTube because I'll get strikes, for talking about the C word and all that kind of stuff. But anyway, any comments over here? Yeah, Marianne SB, me too, watching by phone. All right. Yep, that's okay. Tucson Prepper says, yeah, okay, I'm out. Into the world, I'd rather hang out with the Nigel than this guy. This is a joke. Bye, all. All right. Bye, Tucson Prepper. Sorry that I've kind of left you disappointed. Summer Wild. Hey, Seth, Alabama here. By the way, of California and Hawaii, do you see Rob and Ben much anymore? Been watching you guys for years. What are your thoughts on Cash? I haven't seen Rob in a while. I was chatting with Ben because I grew up with Ben. I was chatting with him recently, kind of helping out with some things, but solid guys. What are your thoughts on Cash? I knew Cash before. He's stepped into the belly of the beast. I have no idea what he's up against. I have no idea, what threats have been made against him or his family. So it's, I'm not happy with, like, I was hoping that we'd get more transparency, and I don't think we're getting that. But yeah, it's hard to say, right? I can't imagine what he's going through. S. Lample saying, I think God is going to do the reset. I agree. I think the reset is on God's terms, right? Just like the flood was. The flood was on God's term. The flood was a reset. That's what it was. It was the great reset of prior years. So I agree. Okay, I'm gonna hop back over to Rumble. Got some more activity over there. So Lieutenant Cabron, who says there's shots of Charlie's nipples, no plate, but I'm also 30 minutes back. So maybe you'll see this in 30 minutes. But yeah, we covered that. I agree. I don't think that he's wearing a plate. Absolutely. Also, I'll tell everyone, just a reminder, share this video. Sorry, I got a comment. The Jolly Oak says YouTube is for fixing your car, Rumble's for fixing your mind. That's a good one. I agree. I go to YouTube if I need plumbing help or something, or if I need to figure out how to get my tractor started. But yeah, Rumble is for your mind. Anyway, I was going to ask you though, the one thing you guys can all do, guys and girls, is to help share this content. YouTube, I'm so shadow banned, unfortunately. Rumble's a little bit of an echo chamber. Amazing website, but it's really hard to reach beyond. So if you can share the content, I would love you for it. Honestly though, only if you enjoyed it. If you've enjoyed this show and it's useful to you and you like what I laid out there, please share it. Absolutely. I say, so Joe Rowe 8488 says, where's General McInerney? Good question. I haven't interviewed McInerney in probably a year or so. I should see what he's up to. I mean, I know he's getting quite old. And so I'm not sure where he's at or if he's doing many interviews, but I'd love to hear his opinion on things. I really have enjoyed my interviews with General McInerney. He's a solid guy. Solid guy. All right, let me just take a quick peek real quick on how we're doing. Okay. Well, I think that I'm going to start wrapping up. We're at about an hour and a half now. And it's late for me. And I've got little kids that are going to keep me, wake me up at 6 a.m. probably. The joys of being a father. I love it. Wouldn't trade it for anything. Sleuth Dog says, always enjoy your commentary, sir. Thank you. Thank you, Sleuth Dog. And I know I went a long time without doing these solo shows and without doing these live shows like this, and was doing a lot of interviews. And I love the interviews, and I love, especially, guests like Dr. David Martin or, Brian Artis, or, some of the guests. I think I've got General Flynn coming on later this month. But I'm going to be doing more of these live shows. So anyway, if you, let me know what you think. Do you enjoy this format? Do you like just me doing a solo show like this and doing the live? And I really enjoy it. Actually, to be honest, I really enjoy sitting here with you and just kind of walking through. Me, chat back and forth. You guys are really smart, honestly, and I learn a lot from you. So I really do enjoy this interaction. But let me know what you think, though. Let me know in the comments, etc. It's great to hear from you. So, okay. Actually, apricot pits can cure cancer. I think we need to go back to at least 2005. The computers were hooked up to Ethernet or had so little battery they were only used in one location and people only had flip phones. Yeah, I would love that. Pardon me. I would say that if we could go back to even 99, if we could somehow reset and go back to what life was like in 99, I would take it in a heartbeat. Even though I'm not sure, video podcasters, it may be difficult for me to live stream, but maybe I'd have a radio show. Or a print newspaper, right? I know how to do. I know newspaper businesses. But yeah, maybe I would love to go back to that. I would love to. This life seems so simple. If I remember, 1999. In 99, I was in 8th grade or something. Because I graduated from high school in 2004. Gosh, life was just so wonderful, so simple. Aaron, thanks, Seth. You have been so informative over the years. Thank you. I try. I appreciate you sticking with me. Yeah, you like this format. Thank you. Amy Ann, your live shows are fabulous. Thank you. At Red Ace 2020, great show. You have a new fan. Wonderful. Thank you. I love hearing this feedback. It just warms my heart. Grenade, keep the shows coming. Yeah, right now I love this format, the Q&A at the end. Good. Yeah, I'm gonna keep doing these more and more. Actually, I really, really enjoy this. I really, really enjoy this. Red Ace, thank you. Hit the like button and follow button. I agree. First days, yes. Live chat, no ads. Yeah, I know. And also, I know that the ads are kind of difficult with Rumble. I have my own ads that I put in. I try to make them not too many. It is a business. This is my full-time thing. So got to, kind of keep a roof over our heads. But I know Rumble ads are a little bit tricky sometimes. Okay. Yeah, Zeitghost, Dr. Artist, Dr. Ed Group, and Seth, the Trinity of Truth. Yeah, I love those guys. And also Dr. Ely. He's great as well. Dr. Ely. Yeah, Texas Liberty Baby. I would give anything for 1999. Yeah, me too. Me too. First days, the 70s. Yeah, I mean, I wasn't alive in the 70s, but I would love to go back. If I could just rewind the clock, if I could say, be born in the 60s, but not like the 60s that went the timeline that we're at now, like, where it was like they destroyed our country. But yeah. Sonia, thank you. You've done a great job putting your show together. Thank you. I appreciate that. Zeitghost, cheers, Seth and chat. You guys are the best. Let's see. Knack Nud says, good woman. He said with a grin. You knew I was a snake before you took me in. I'm not sure what that quote is, but yeah, there we go. Yeah, Sid Canoe, thanks for being skeptical. I'm too old for another magic bullet. Yeah, there we go. First days, how's the chemtrails? Not bad. Chemtrails surprisingly the past couple of months have not been bad, which is really, really nice. Jural Y. Seth, you're one of the most honest and sharpest podcasters. I respect you and believe you too, mate. You have touched topics that not many have covered. Keep it up and God bless you. Thank you. I appreciate that. I really do. Maybe, are you an Aussie if you call me mate? Yeah, T-Bone, life before the internet was so amazing. I agree. Yeah, Joro848 says, Gio Griffin says Trump is a tool of the Illuminati. I should try to get him back on again. He's a brilliant man. Brilliant man. Atari console, anyone? Been to rocks. I had Atari. I had all the Atari, NES, Sega, all those things. I was the video game kid. All right. So as much as I'm going to keep going and I'm just having so much fun, I got to go make our bread. We do sourdough bread. So I got to go do my part of the job, which is a late night thing. I get the, feed the starter and get the bread formed into the little basket. So, yep. All righty. Well, I think I'm going to close up for the night. Kind of in closing notes, the final reminder, make sure you go to ARC Community. So buildthearc.com. Make sure you sign up if you want to join the community. We'll get you more details. We're opening it up soon. It's going to be pretty amazing. I'll get more details as we get closer. Next probably 2 or 3 weeks, we're going to start really rolling things out and opening up and getting closer to the official launch date of that. So buildthearc.com. Make sure you go sign up there. I'll give a goodbye to the YouTube chat. YouTube, thank you. Thank you very much. Yeah, Kay, I love you doing the live shows. Thank you. Humble Pie, sending much love to Seth and family. Thank you, Humble Pie. I really appreciate that. Mary Ann SB says, Seth, I met you at Reawaken. Thank you for doing what you're doing. Yeah, I miss the Reawaken tours. Clay's a good friend. I talk to him every couple of weeks or so, and yeah, the Reawaken tours were a really special kind of era. A really special era. I'm not sure what that was. Mr. Nice Guy Alexander's God Black shirt was itching, scratching, and adjusting his shirt the whole time. Please stop with conspiracies. TPUSA and Erica has asked to stop with the theories. I'm not sure if you're saying that I'm presenting any conspiracies or theories. I'm presenting theories. I mean, you have to theorize to figure things out, right? You look at the evidence and you create theories. And so anyway, I think honestly, to me, the real conspiracies, like if I was Erica Kirk, the conspiracies I'd be upset with are people saying that he's still alive. and like, oh, did he fake his death? And like, to me, that's a conspiracy that I wouldn't have any patience for if I was her. But not, people trying to figure out what happened, right? All right. Thank you, everybody. Thank you. I'm going to sign off now. I've got a great interview coming tomorrow night. Very good interview. Make sure you watch that, 10 p.m. And I'll probably do another live show again this week, at least one more, covering stuff, because I really, really enjoy this. So, and just so you know, Seth, show on frequencies, I'll look into it. Guitar Girl, I'll look into it. Show on frequencies. It's important. Frequencies are very important. But always go 10 o'clock at night, 10 p.m. Eastern. That's when the shows are. And I'll try to put together a more reliable schedule for you. I'm not good with schedules. I'm an artist. I'm a free thinker. I don't like having schedules. It drives my wife crazy. So we'll see what we can do. All right. Thank you all for coming on. So nice to see everybody. I love you all. Thank you for being part of the family. And I will see you soon. I'll be definitely doing another live show this week, I think. That's one of my goals for this week. So, all right. Sleep well. God bless. Take care. I will see you all next time. And signing off.